Good afternoon on what is a bright and slightly breezy afternoon. I'm back in the reading nook with some parcels and, of course, a nice hot cup of tea. And I've already opened this one, and what I pulled out was this interesting sort of like comic stroke exploration of personalisation and identity. With really quite lovely artwork, and that's Mud, a Golem memoir, and from the same publisher. Also in this pack is two other things. I've got a thank you, which contains essentially role-playing games or exercises in role-playing thought and so on postcards. So I'm just showing you those in basic. These are just sort of like Kickstarter bonuses, and then Birds Are Amazing. A list of bird names on the back, and inside you have the complete rules of the game, and essentially you've got a little micro game there, and that's a little extra bonus for the Kickstarter backers. But the other main thing in the package is this: An Astronaut. Now, I can remember, like every kid, wanting to be an astronaut. I love the idea of going to space. I'm a big science fiction fan, and always sort of like I can remember being so since I sort of like fell in love with Star Trek and Doctor Who, and sort of unfortunately, yes, I'm not very good at physics and that sort of thing. So no, I was never going to be an astronaut, and certainly not when you sort of like discover how much sort of like technical stuff you need to know. It's not really my kind of thing, but I can still role play one. And this quite basically simple book begins to explore you as being an astronaut away from the Earth, as you can see from this famous image. Essentially, it's just telling your story and establishing who you are. Almost running the code in it. So although this has it's taking the image there is from View from Earth, Apollo 11 mission 1969, it moves it on a bit, so what you've got here is more reminiscent of the science fiction of a decade later, so the late 70s and very early 80s, with the use of the fonts that look like computer graphics. It's almost as if it's going up the screen there. So there's almost more like a blue collar feel to it, like the film Aliens, and Outland, which is something which has already explored in role-playing games like Mothership, and of course Alien from Free League. So this is really like a prompt for journaling. Or a diary where the computer is asking you as the astronaut questions, and you answer them and begin to explore who and what you are. So and it's explaining, it's essentially sort of like, okay, from the moment you awake from stasis, what is your status? That's what it's asking here before you carry on, and it's pushing itself out into basically further realms. So it's taking you out to Jupiter, the Great Red Spot, and then to the Horsehead Nebula, and further out. Again, asking you, questioning who you are as an astronaut. So it's an interesting exploration of being an astronaut and dreaming of being an astronaut, because obviously, for a lot of us, really, the astronauts are people whom we only came to know sort of like since they returned as such, as they aged and then passed away. Obviously, Neil Armstrong and others. Recently, Buzz Aldrin is still alive. And we have obviously more recently astronauts like Chris Hadfield, and then Tim Peake. So this is essentially an explanation and contemplation of what it's like to be an astronaut, and what whether or not it meets your dreams. It's an odd little book, and I think again how much there is, how much role playing is involved in that, but it is pushing you to think, and it's really, if you have like a journal there, you can begin to think about what your thoughts are as you're proceeding through the book, and it's prompting you to question, basically, are you an astronaut? What's your relationship to being an astronaut, or an astronaut, and that sort of thing. So yeah, that is You, An Astronaut by Turtlebun Games, created on Kickstarter. I will probably have a review of this at some point. I'm interested in doing a strand on mini RPGs, basically a weekend of them at some point. I'm going to do another strand of the fanzine as a vehicle for an RPG, or at least the format for an RPG as well. That's going to be my next book one fanzine focus strand. I do those every bank holidays, or the equivalent thereof, and the one I'm putting together is a set of standard kind of fanzines, but next I will do something along the lines of RPGs as fanzines. Anyway, in the meantime, if you have enjoyed this unboxing in the Nook, then please click the like button down below. If you've got any comments or feedback, I appreciate you taking the time to post those, and I do take the time to read them. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook, where you will see me with some parcels and a book I can talk about to some degree of knowledge for 10 minutes or so, and let's not forgetting a nice hot cup of tea, then please do click that like button. That subscribe button down below, and you'll be alerted to whenever I post another video. In the meantime, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll be back again soon with another unboxing in the Nook. Bye for now.